everybody, Questwise here, and I was setting up to do a little painting today, and as I was putting together my wet palette, I thought this would make a cool video from some of you out there who might be new to the painting hobby, or the aspect of the hobby of painting, and I thought this would be a kind of neat way for me to show you what I use as a wet palette and what a wet palette is. So a wet palette is actually a device. You can buy these. Games Workshop sells them. They're kind of expensive. Other places or other companies provide them as well too. But what a wet palette is a palette that keeps your paint wet. And it's kind of implied in the name. But it's a palette that keeps your paint wet for a longer period of time, so that you're not constantly having to refresh your paint with some medium or some water, thinning it out as it dries up. You're not having to add more and more paint, and it allows you to save on the paint usage that you have, as well as keeping the paint wetter longer on your palette if you're doing bigger projects or taking, you can take your time, as it were, and the paint on this will stay wet for quite a long time. I have never bought an actual wet palette before. I found this trick on the internet, and I've been using it ever since, and it works wonders. Now this kind of applies to everything, whether you're painting 3D printed miniatures of your own for D&D, or some of the the ones that you can purchase through Gale Force 9. WizKids does some of these. This little beholder that I was going to work on here today. This is a 3D printed piece that a friend of mine did for me, a little female wizard. And I've been really getting back into playing Warhammer a lot lately, so I've been painting up a bunch of Space Marines as well as Eldar and stuff as well. So this applies to no matter what you're painting, whether it be D&D minis or historical miniatures or Warhammer 40K miniatures. This applies to the whole hobby as across the spectrum. So really all you need is a couple of things. A lid. This is just a Tupperware lid. You can see it says Betty Crocker. Hopefully no copyright infringements. But it's just a lid, and what you need is a lid that has a little bit of a lip around the edge, because this is going to be wet, and you don't want the water to run off onto your table. So you just need a little lid like that. You need a little bit of water, a piece of paper towel, and a piece of wax paper. Now, I've seen people use parchment paper before, and I've used it in a pinch, and it works, but I prefer wax paper better, just because the wax on the paper actually stands up to the water a little bit better. So you can take your paper towel, and you want the lid that you're using with the lip up on the top. Just fold your paper towel so that it fits semi well in there. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to take your little bit of water, and you're going to pour in enough to simply soak the entire paper towel. Just kind of roll it around a little bit, let the paper towel soak it up. And that's what the lip is for, is the lip's going to keep the water from spilling off onto your table, your work area, that kind of thing. Alright, once your paper towel is thoroughly soaked, you're going to take your piece of parchment paper or wax paper. I usually do the shiny side up and just press it down on top of the wet paper towel until it's semi-smooth. It's okay that this edge hangs off a little bit. It's actually kind of nice to have it that way. I got a little bit of paint here. This is a Flames of War through Vallejo paints. I really enjoy Vallejo paints, and I'll actually do a whole another video on some of the different paints that I use and what I use them for. But this is a German Camel Black Brown. I just wanted to show you, make sure your paint's always good and shaken up. And you can put your divot of paint there, and that's it. That's the whole process of making a wet palette at home. It's super cheap. The lids you can steal from your cupboard, or if you're in a pinch you don't have any, you can get them in the dollar store. Get a whole package of Tupperware-esque containers at the dollar store. You get the lids included with them, and then you got a whole bunch of wet palettes that you can make. Paper towel, some wax paper, and that'll keep that paint wet for a very long time. So just a little informational video on how to make your own wet palette at home. save yourself a little bit of money and a little bit of grief. And I'll like I said, I'll do some more videos later on the different types of paint that I use and what I use them for. And hopefully this helps some of you out there who are sort of new to the hobby. Until next time, I'm Questwise. Stay safe and game on, my friends.